Hi, welcome to Lachlan Likes a Thing, a show where I take a thing and see whether or not I like it. Now the thing we're looking at in this video is the Philips Fidelio S2 earphones. Now in recent years, Philips, the Dutch giant, has been releasing a series of premium audio products under the Fidelio sub-brand, and up till now that's mostly consisted of headphones and iPod docks. The S2 and the little brother, the S1, is actually the company's recent release, a set of earphones. Now the S1 is the cheaper model, it's made with cheaper materials, it's made of plastic. The S2, which we're looking at today, is made out of a copper alloy housing, which is pretty cool. So let's take a closer look. Here's the copper alloy housing up close, and as you can see, the Fidelio S2 is quite a beauty. The metal feels really smooth and solid and nice in the hand. And considering the price point at around $149, the build quality really is quite good, especially considering that for $1,000 you can get the SE846, and for $400 or $300 you can get the Westone W4R and the Logitech UE900, and they're made out of plastic. So, I think Philips is being quite aggressive for a large company in making these out of metal and pricing them at $149. So that's really quite encouraging. As you can see, the S2 has a big vent on the back, which means it has a semi-open design, just like the Philips Fidelio line of headphones. That means that it lets in quite a lot of noise. There's not much noise isolation out of this earphone, so if you're after something that's going to block out external noise, you should look at another earphone. However, if you do want to kind of hear things going on around you, this is a good choice, just like the Sony 7550. The S2 has a simple tried and tested earbud design. It just sits in your outer ear, and the silicone ear tip just sits in your inner ear. It's quite comfortable. The outer ear, takes some of the pressure away from the ear canal. That said, the earphone, because it's made out of metal, is actually quite relatively heavy in the ear. So that's one thing to watch out for. The design also means that you cannot wear the S2 with cable up. You have to wear it with cable down, though thankfully the cable noise isn't too bad on this model. The cable itself is a flat cable, and I have mixed feelings about this cable. On the one hand, it doesn't get tangled very easily, it's quite nice that way, but on the other hand, it is relatively heavy compared to a standard kind of cable, and you kind of feel a little of its weight while it swings around. The cable features a phone remote, just a one-button remote, which is apparently compatible with all sorts of handsets, including the iPhone and some Android phones. And on the other end, we have a 90-degree jack, pretty solidly put together. Overall, the build quality of this earphone is quite good. So how do the S2 sound? Well, I think they sound good, but for me, they were a bit of a mixed bag. The S2 definitely has a warm sound to it. It's very kind of warm, especially in the mid-bass, kind of a bit of a throaty kind of noise. But at the same time, they have quite a crispy, quite aggressive, high-frequency treble response. And that means that for some tracks, they can sound kind of grainy and nice and warm and analog, and they have a nice atmosphere to them. But for other tracks, particularly more aggressive tracks, they can just sound a bit splashy. The treble can just sound very aggressive and a little indistinct. I've read some comparisons of the Fidelio S2 with the VSonic GR07, and to my ears, the S2 definitely sounds the warmer of the two. It's definitely got a more substantial bass response. In terms of high frequencies, while the S2 has a lower treble kind of emphasis, particularly with the lower parts of female vocals and stringed instruments, the VSonic GR07 has more of an emphasis in the high frequencies where the shimmery kind of noises are. And that means the VSonic GR07 sounds thinner overall in high frequencies. It also means it sounds more extended and kind of more spacious to my ears than the S2, which I thought could sound less clean in terms of its treble response. I think a better comparison would be with one of my favorites, the Sony MDR7550, which combines the same kind of slightly aggressive, dry treble response with a warmer kind of mid-bass section. Now, I definitely think that the 7550 is more linear in terms of bass than the Fidelio S2. The S2 has more of a mid-bass hump compared to the 7550. I also think the 7550 still sounds more controlled and cleaner than the Fidelio S2. And I also think that the soundstage on the 7550 is wider and more spacious. So, you know, if it was based on sound alone, I would still go with the 7550. Especially considering that these are both earphones that don't really offer much noise isolation. That said, the S2 has a bit more of an engaging sound to it, and the design is a little more convenient to just slip in and out of your ears. So overall, the S2 is a really nicely built earphone with a nice sound to it, but it doesn't quite hit it out of the park for me, because I think that for the price, you could get the HiFiMan RE400 or the VSonic GR07, and you'd get a cleaner sound, and at the same time you'd get something that isolates better and you can wear it over the ear so you don't get cable noise. If you were specifically after an earphone which offered less noise isolation, I would think that the S2 is a pretty good pick, but if you can spend the extra money, I would go with the Sony 7550. Anyway, thanks for watching this review. Thanks to everyone who's liked my other videos and subscribed to my channel. Click the like button if this video has helped you, and check out my channel for more reviews. You can talk to me on Facebook at facebook.com/LachlanLikesAthing, or you can tweet to me at LachLikesAthing. Happy listening.